All right, good evening, Hermosa Beach, and Happy New Year. Welcome to 2025. I'd like to call to order the City of Hermosa Beach's Parks and Recreation and Community Resources Advisory Commission meeting for January 7th, 2025 to order. Can we have roll call, please? Oh, pardon me, we'll go with the Pledge of Allegiance first. Rabbi Lisbon, would you like to lead us in the pledge? Awesome, thank you. Put your right hand on your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, now we'll move on to roll call.
Commissioner Horowitz?
Here.
Commissioner Alman?
Here.
Commissioner
Here.
Maroney? Vice Chair Pizer-Maines?
Here.
Chair Lang?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any announcements from upcoming city events or from the commissioners? Anybody want to go first? Tom? Lauren? Tracy? Barb? Okay.
I do have announcements.
Perfect.
So if we can queue up the upcoming city events presentation. And good evening, commissioners. Okay, so on this slide before you, you see the permitted special events that are scheduled to take place in the month of January. The Chamber Sidewalk Sales, which actually took place this last weekend, and we have the AAU Southern Pacific Grand Prix Series on several dates this month. Next slide. Our department's excursion this month is to see Wicked at the Pantages Theater on the 26th. We are currently sold out, but we are accepting signups on our wait list, and you can access that wait list by visiting hermosabeach.gov/recreation. Next slide. And we have several productions this month in our community theater and our second story theater, and we have a separate flyer that has more information on each of these productions that can be found at hermosabeach.gov/theater, and that's RE. And that concludes the upcoming city events presentation.
Moving on to presentations.
We have 3 presentations this evening, and they are all post-event presentations, which are part of the event producer's long-term agreement with the city. Our first presentation this evening is regarding the California Great Santa Stroll, and we have Paige and Jillian here to provide that presentation.
Hi, Commissioners. Nice to see you again. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Paige. Hello, Commissioners.
I don't know, did you get the slides or?
We didn't get the
Okay,
slides.
no
I'm
problem.
sorry.
That's all good.
Verbal is just fine.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
But I know we were here a few weeks ago to explain the event. We are thrilled to say that we reached our goal and we had over 1,000 attendees. We actually had nearly 1,300, so that was really exciting. We had 6 on-site vendors, and all of the funds from the event came back to Michael's to support our programs and our students. It was a really exciting day. Everyone was able to enjoy beautiful Hermosa Beach. It was we had great weather, so that was awesome for a December event. And then we had 6 give-backs, so a lot of people went back to different businesses in the community and wore their Santa suit or brought their medals in, and they received a discount. We had a few struggles just in the morning. There were some unmarked parking spaces, but that was resolved pretty quickly, and we received 1 noise complaint. We were pretty surprised about that, but we made the note for next year, and we'll make sure that that doesn't happen again. And yes, it was super exciting. We had our biggest turnout yet and stuck to our timeline, and everyone seemed really happy at the event, so it was great.
Congratulations. Any comments from commissioners?
I just want to congratulate you on a great event. I'm sorry you didn't have your visual presentation
Oh, no,
because
no
it's
worries.
fun to see everyone in their Santa suits and having fun. And I was just curious where the noise complaint came from.
It seemed like a neighbor complained that the music was playing before 8 a.m. So our notes said that the DJ didn't start playing until after 8, but we'll make sure that that doesn't happen next year.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tracy, Barb?
Well, I had a great time. And I would just like to say the cookies were awesome.
So,
And I might have been guilty of taking more than one. I don't know, because you don't have your presentation tonight, but I don't know if people understand how amazing not just this program is, but that it goes past just helping. That, I've been to the coffee shop. Can I call it a coffee shop?
yes, yeah.
The food is excellent, and what a wonderful place to meet. The patio in the back and the staff are so helpful. And I hope that everyone will understand that this is not just a program for people that have learning issues. This is an amazing opportunity for all of these kids to learn life skills and for all of us to spend time with them and learning to communicate in a different level. But thank you so much for everything you do. And I do look forward next year to using my costume or my medal to get a discount. I didn't know we could do that. I missed that. But thank you so much.
Thank you. We appreciate the support from the community and all of you, so thank you so much.
Tracy?
You guys, it's always been so well organized, and I was at the first one, and it's from the perspective of a participant, it's seamless. From registration through the entire event, it's seamless. So thank you for making it so easy for all of us to participate and for the contributions that you make, not only to the city and the participation there, but to the community that you serve. So, well done.
Thank you.
And once again, awesome. And congratulations on exceeding your goal of 1,000 and landing on 13. 1,500 next year, we'll hold you to it. Couple of questions. So was Barb the only one in the Grinch costume, or is there anybody else out there? No.
There were a few. Yeah.
I'm totally joking. Us as commissioners, we love to come and participate. So when you have several commissioners showing up, that means that we're so stoked on it. For next year's note, just keep in mind there are a lot of, and complement on your standalone event, but if you want to time it or sync it with other Hermosa holiday festivals going on, there is the Sandman contest, which is a favorite, so we can operate symbiotically. Then there's also Holiday for Hermosa, and then the South by Board Riders also do Surfing Santa. So not that you need it, but if you find yourself like, oh, are there some other entities to team up with that are kind of in the same spirit? Just throwing it out there right now. But otherwise, 1,500 next year. And thank you for choosing Hermosa Beach for your event. We appreciate it.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Commissioners.
Yes. Have a good night.
Next presentation.
Our next presentation is on the Skechers Peer-to-Peer Friendship Walk, and we have Amy on the line to provide that presentation over the phone.
We have a phone number on ending in 1.
Great, thanks. Thank you, Lisa. Sorry, I didn't, I had to unmute my microphone, so sorry for the delay. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. All right, well, thanks for letting me do this on the phone. I'm under the weather and didn't want to spread my germs around, but I really am so grateful. We, as a team at the Skechers Foundation, are grateful for all that Hermosa Beach does to make this event happen and work so well every year. This year was our 16th anniversary of the Peer-to-Peer Friendship Walk. And as many of you probably know, and forgive me if I'm repeating, but we do begin the event in Manhattan Beach. That's where our main footprint is, with all of our sponsors and sponsor booths and the main stage. The participants travel to Hermosa Beach on the Strand, and the turnaround is at the pier, and they travel back. This year was our most successful one yet. We raised over $3.4 million. And as you probably are aware, all of the money that we raise goes back into the Ed Foundations of the South Bay, to the Friendship Foundation and the Friendship Campus that's being built. And we have a National College Scholarship Program. So everything goes back to the kids. And we're just, like I said, really grateful for the two cities who do so much to make this happen. At the Hermosa Pier this year on Schumacher Plaza, we had Connecta Ice Cream Push Cart. Connect is one of our sponsors. We also this year had the Creamy Boys Ice Cream Truck. It's always our pleasure to promote businesses in Hermosa when we're at the turnaround. And we also had the Redondo Jazz Band performing, and the Redondo High School cheer team. All of the students who participate, we gift them a pair of shoes, the cheer and band teams from all the schools, because we appreciate their volunteer time, and it adds so much to the walk to have all these students playing instruments and cheering all of the participants along. Like I said, we did raise a record amount of money this year. We'll distribute those checks to the Ed Foundations in February. But last year, Hermosa Beach Ed Foundation received a check for $240,983 as a result of the monies raised. 76% of the money is raised from sponsors, and the rest comes from the student participants from the schools and the donations that are made along with the registration fees. So we're excited to present those checks this February, and they'll most likely be bigger than ever. Just anecdotally, because I know it's a lot of people that come into Hermosa and turn around and go back to Manhattan Beach. One of our volunteers who works for Skechers and is always at the HB turnaround estimates that 30 to 40% of the walkers don't go back to Manhattan Beach. They stay in Hermosa, and they go to the restaurants there and the small businesses, or they just leave from there. But it's definitely a festival atmosphere down there and brings a lot of foot traffic to the businesses. So we hope that that's appreciated. It's definitely a fun time for everybody. I know we have a few of our sponsors have traditions, like McCarthy Building Companies. They always walk to Hermosa and then spend kind of the late morning at Hennessy's having brunch together. And finally, Skechers, like I said, really appreciates all of the support from Hermosa Beach, and we try to give back to the community. And you may see that Skechers supports things like Hermosa for the Holidays, Truly Hermosa, the Ed Foundation's Hearts of Hermosa Gala, Police Department, and many more things, and including the Santa Stroll. We always enjoy supporting Michaels and their endeavors also. So once again, thank you, and thank you also for the opportunity to have a long-term agreement. Very helpful not to be writing that proposal every fall while we're kind of in crazy mode getting ready for the walk. So thank you very much, and glad to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Any commissioner comments? No? Tracy, Barb?
No, I'm glad it was a great event, and thank you for sharing what a good partner the Skechers Foundation is to other nonprofits. That's nice to hear. So thank you.
Barb? Well, thank you once again. We'll see you year 16. Our final presentation?
All right. Yeah, 17.
17. Thank you. I stand corrected.
Yeah. No problem. Thanks again, everyone.
Our final presentation is on the community Hanukkah celebration, and it will be presented by Rabbi Lisbon.
Hello, everybody. Amazing event this year. It really was. We were a little bit unsure with the date being so late in the year, and the end of December, December 29th. A little bit unsure of how the crowd is going to be. Pleasantly surprised that we finished giving out all the donuts and the latkes, and there was a beautiful, beautiful crowd. If there was one person that seemed to be enjoying his time the most of anybody who was there, had to be the mayor, Dean Francois. He was, it was fun watching him just dancing with the kids, handing out the little, when the parachutes were coming from the fire truck down, and he was catching them, giving them out to the kids. It was a sight. It was beautiful to see. Everything worked out wonderful. Great staff. Thank you very much for everybody that was helping, from the power to opening the gates. I know there was little different criteria this year with the Strand being blocked off. We couldn't pull the rental, but we had it parked on the side. That worked very well. The fire truck had that same issue, but moved over the footprint a little bit to the left, leaving room in front of the restaurants. Fire truck made it out, no problem. Police also, they made their presence felt, and that was very, very much appreciated. It was a wonderful event. Everything worked out beautifully. If I have to say something, if you know, right at the top of that area, if you have right at the top, there's like a drain right at the center, right where we were setting up our welcome booth. I guess that's normal for the restaurants to dump their ice over there, and I guess they were, but that melts, and a lot of our stuff got wet. So I don't know if that's something to address in the future. I don't know. But that was the only really hiccup that we really experienced. It was just so much positive feedback. Everybody was so happy, and it was just a great celebration.
Thank you. Any commissioner comments?
I'm glad that it went well, because it was a later in the year event, but it's good to hear that it went well and was well attended.
Yeah.
And sorry I missed the donuts.
Lisa, can we look into the issue? I'm sure if it's happened here, it's probably happened to others. If we're asking people to set up correctly, we need to offer that in response.
Regarding the restaurants dumping the ice in the drain? Yeah, I just made note to look into that and follow up on that.
Thank you very much, and I'm glad it went well.
Yeah, thank you.
Tracy? Once again, thank you for an awesome event. Sorry about the ice. We'll
No,
see you
it's
next
okay.
year.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Community Resources Director report, please.
Thank you, Chair Lang. Mari will queue up the presentation. Next slide. All right. So our first update this evening is regarding CIP 619 for the Kelly Courts renovations. This project will resurface and reconfigure the Kelly Courts at Clark Field, allowing for the return of 4 pickleball courts and to have all courts, including the tennis and basketball court, meet court standards. This project went out to bid December 12th, and responses are due by January 23rd. Therefore, I will keep the commission posted on the outcome and the timeline for this project and when the award of the contract may be scheduled for City Council review. Next slide. The second update this evening is regarding field maintenance at Clark Field, which began today and is scheduled through February 18th, and the Community Center East Lawn, which begins January 9th, this Thursday, and will go through March 6th. And this does conclude my director's report.
Awesome, thank you. Opening it up to public comment, please.
This is the time for members of the public to address the commission on items on and not on the agenda, but within the commission's jurisdiction. Each speaker is limited to 2 minutes and will be taken in person only. A reminder that if you address the commission on a discussion item, you will not be able to address the commission on the same item when it is heard at a later part of the meeting. Do we have anyone in the chambers wishing to do public comment?
Okay, seeing that there's nobody in chambers, we'll close public comment. We'll skip over commissioners' comments unless somebody has something they want to add.
I have some questions.
Oh,
I have some questions for the director.
Go right ahead, please.
So, Lisa, could you give us an update on the Clark Building?
Yes, the Clark Building renovation project is still on schedule with a completion date for April. Exact timing in April, I don't have to share at this time, but we are on schedule for completion in April.
We haven't run into any surprises yet in the walls or anywhere that...
No surprises reported.
Excellent. And then next week, I believe the subcommittee is meeting on Wednesday at 5 o'clock, and we'll be discussing...
Yes, we'll be meeting to finalize the recommendation, which will be going before the Parks Commission in February at a regular scheduled meeting on the use policy and the fee schedule to match the updated building.
Okay. Next, an update on the access on the, well, just the Greenbelt project, because there's more to it.
Yes, so the Greenbelt project has been slightly delayed, and we anticipate the project being completed by the end of this month. So that's the update I have as of now, and I will, of course, let the commission know if that timeline changes at all. But right now, we're very hopeful it will be completed this month.
Well, I have some comments to make about the access on the Greenbelt, well, just the Greenbelt project. I really shouldn't just say access. There's been some comments made. This is a project that's near and dear to my heart. I am grateful to the city and staff for everything that they have done. It's been a number of years I've worked really hard with many people, and unfortunately, the person that started this campaign has died. And I hope that we'll do Jeff proud when this is over. But I wanted to go over a few things because I do think that one of the problems we have sometimes is communication, and the fact that I do believe residents need to make an effort, and we need to make an effort to get the information out. Now, this project right now was scheduled, the budget was $1.4 million. It included the annual striping CIP, the ADA improvement CIP, and the changing the Greenbelt part of it so that it will be accessible to people who have problems walking, whether they have a cane, whether they're in a wheelchair or a walker. Everybody has a right to participate in our parks. And I couldn't be more proud of this project. I wanted to go over a few things with you. The The approved contract amount, the bid was $843,216.29, with an approved contingency plan of $170,000. So it was not a $2 million project. So if anyone has any questions about that, you got my phone number. I'm easily reachable. Right now, this project includes, besides the decomposed granite, we will also have 2 new fitness equipment areas. We'll have 12 to 14 new trees. The team is currently working with an arborist to potentially remove 2 to 3 large trees that are in poor health. Our goal is to replace 2 trees for every one that is cut down. The irrigation improvements and upgrades, including sprinklers, drip lines, and valves and controllers. We know there's a problem on the Greenbelt watering correctly. Sometimes it gets flooded. We have over 10,000 square feet of hydro seeding along the trail. We have 430 new plants. We've improved the landscaping around the 9/11 memorial. We're replacing old trash cans. We're improving the draining on the Greenbelt. We're constructing 4 new curb ramps. We have pedestrian crossing enhancements in front of the Clark Building with the new rectangular flashing beacons. We are improving 2 ADA parking spots and then adding a third. So these are all things that are happening that we can all be proud of and that we will all have access to. And again, I'm really disappointed that if someone has a problem with the project, call, find out the facts before you decide to start a rumor that something costs more than it does, or that we're going to tear down all the trees. There are going to be bikes speeding up and down the Greenbelt. Bikes are already allowed on the Greenbelt. We'll have to work on that. But I just want to get the information out. A lot of work went into this, and I couldn't be more proud of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. I didn't mean to cut you off, and you should be proud, because Hermosa Beach is proud. Jeff is looking down at you, and he's extremely proud for you and your team fulfilling the vision. And I'll tell you what, there's already runners that have been using it, and they love the decomposed granite. So everybody, big round of applause to Barb and her team for making it happen. Thank you.
I'm so sorry, I did leave out, thank you, Tracy. I left out the $529 grant that we received. So we are down to $584,000. And again, come and see me, give me a call.
That's what we do here. We make Hermosa Beach better and user-friendly for everybody. Thank you once again. Any other commissioner comments? I apologize, I didn't mean to move forward too quickly. Going on to the consent calendar, are there any items that the commissioners would like to pull to discuss? If not, is there a motion to receive and file?
I'll make a motion to receive and file.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Voting is now open. Chairperson Lang,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pizer Maines,
Yes.
Commissioner Ellman,
Yes.
motion carries.
I do
Thank
think
you.
we need another class on using the system. Running into some problems here.
Technical difficulties. Okay. I got you guys. Public hearings.
Thank you, Chair Lang. Tonight's public hearing is for the commission to consider recommending approval to City Council to impact level 2 new special events to the 2025 special events calendar. And we do have a presentation to accompany this verbal report. We'll queue up now. We can go to the next slide. The first event for the commission's consideration is the Interscholastic Beach Volleyball Series, IBVL for short, on several dates listed within the staff report and on the slide before you, none of which fall within the peak season. The peak season's Memorial Day to Labor Day. The event would take place on the volleyball courts north of Pier. It would consist of youth volleyball tournaments and would anticipate up to 150 event participants and 75 spectators each event day. While these tournaments would be relatively low impact, staff would like to make a verbal note that Approval of these tournaments would result in increasing our event day totals by 6 in 2025. 6 of the days requested are when no other events are scheduled to take place on that particular day. 3 of the event days requested are when other event days are scheduled. And I only make note of this because when we were reviewing the 2025 returning special events, we did have a conversation on the level of feasibility of being able to continue to accommodate current requests and growth leading to additional event dates from volleyball organizations that have historically been permitted through the special event permit program. And approval of this new request may further add to that difficulty in future years, maintaining a balance of all the requested dates and being able to accommodate those requested event days. And if those volleyball organizations are growing and do intend to ask for more event days than they were previously approved for in previous calendar years, we can continue to have the difficulty that we did see when we were managing the approval of the 2025 special event calendar. We do currently permit 72 days of volleyball tournaments from 11 different organizations as of currently. Next slide. The second event for the commission to consider is the Hermosa Classic, which would be hosted by the Beach Football League on the south of the pier with setup on May 9th and an event date of May 10th. Hosting this event would require the event producer to relocate our volleyball courts that are south of the pier to accommodate our city classes. The event would consist of tryouts for the Beach Football League, youth football clinics that would be coached by NFL players, and autograph signings, and youth games and adult tackle football games. The event would be free for all attendees and would expect up to 300 participants and 1,200 spectators each event day. Next slide. So on this slide before you, and also within the event overview sheet that is attached to your written staff report, is the draft site map for the Hermosa Classic. The event producer would be required to work with the Public Works Department to ensure ADA access to the event. And additionally, the city would assign police personnel to the event to oversee any public safety matters, and of course, with consideration of any NFL talent that may be on site. And the event producer would also be required to provide security. Next slide. So this does conclude the staff report. We have requested each event producer be in attendance should the commission have any event-related questions, and of course, staff is available as well. If the commission does recommend approval for either or both of these events, the recommendation would go before City Council at its January 28th meeting for review and formal action.
Okay, thank you. Does the commission have any questions of staff at the moment? Okay.
I got a couple, Lisa, specific questions to the staff. We're at 72 now. This will bring us to 81, or does this bring us to 72?
We currently host 72 event days that have volleyball tournaments scheduled on them, but there may be days that there's another event scheduled on within those 72 event days that's not a volleyball tournament. So really, the total amount of event days that we have in 2025 would be increased by 6 to accommodate the IBVL. They're requesting 9 event days, but 3 are taking place on what's already being counted as an event day because there's another event scheduled on that day. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Yeah.
What you're telling me is we have 78 unique, with this applicant, we would have 78 unique volleyball days?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The other question I have for you is, assuming the next matters for consideration when we get there, assuming we treat Redondo as an event, which seems to be what staff is recommending. If we were to approve all 9 dates for this organization, we would exceed our March limits.
If we do approve the Redondo Union High School item through the special event permit program, we would be exceeding our limits in the month of March.
And this organization, IBVL, they want 2 dates
In the
March
month
where
of
nothing
March.
else is going on. They would be the only event going on.
Correct.
And we've had IBVL here before.
We have not.
We have not?
We have not.
Okay, I thought we'd seen them
Not
before.
since the adoption of the special event policy guide.
All right. All right, that's the only questions I have for staff.
Thank you, Tom. Lauren?
I'm going to wait until we hear from the event presenter.
Thank you, Tracy. Barb? Okay, if it's okay with the commission and staff, I'd like to take event by event and approve them separately, if that's okay, guys? Okay, if everybody's comfortable right now? Barb? Yep. If
I
everybody's
think that's a
comfortable.
good way to do it.
Okay, thank you. And so with that said, love to hear from the first event producer from IBVL.
Hello, Gino Grajeda from IBVL and the International School Sport Federation located in Switzerland. The ISF is an international governing body for high school sports. We're based in Lausanne, and we're connected to the International Olympic Committee. I serve as the ISF beach volleyball technical president for all worldwide sports within the organization events. IBVL is a high school league based in California, and it was a precursor to CIF volleyball for girls. When CIF volleyball became a girls' high school sport, IBVL began running a series of tournaments in the off-season. All of our events take place during the academic school year. We still run the high school boys' league in the fall, and that includes Redondo Union, Mira Costa, Bishop Montgomery, Palos Verdes Peninsula, and schools from basically San Luis Obispo south to San Diego County. It's pretty much running the LA County leagues at Dockweiler and also at Santa Monica State Beach and other events in other counties, depending on where the league is based. The events pertained to here are largely trials and qualifiers. For example, this year we're hosting the ISF Continental Championship, which is the Pan Am Games, in Santa Monica at the end of May, first part of June. So we have some trial events coming up leading prior to that. And the last time the Pan Am was in the United States was in Miami. Every international competition that we have held and sent teams from the United States, whether we're in Tahiti or Italy or France, recently in Bahrain, in the past we were in Scotland, I would say there was either a Mira Costa or Redondo Union team participating as a school unit. So this is still where the talent is. Formerly commissioner of AU Beach Volleyball, my role's been elevated to a worldwide level. Instead of going to meetings in Orlando and Cleveland and Tulsa, I'm off at meetings in Shanghai, Rio de Janeiro, Lausanne, Switzerland, Paris, all over the place. Recently, we had a big event in Bahrain. Our next event is going to be in Zlatibor, Serbia in April. So we're running trials this month for that particular event at Dockweiler Beach to get those athletes identified, tried, and moving forward. But the core of the group is the IBVL. That's really intended for the local high school athletes, either connected to a school team as a unit, or athletes from different schools that they want to qualify for a select competition, which means an athlete can be from two different schools as long as they meet the high school eligibility standards that ISF provides. And we have ran winter series in the past, and some of it under AU banner previously, but now it's strictly through ISF. So it's a long definition for what we're trying to do here in Hermosa Beach, but we do have other venues as well, but Hermosa Beach is obviously a top priority because this is where Mira Costa and Redondo play, so to speak, and people like to come here. And so our events, again, we're nothing in the summertime. We have a national pairs tournament first part of June, the California IBVL State Championships in May. None of those events will be here. Other events are going to be pretty much off-season. I think March, April, and then the fall during November, December. So.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? We'll start with you, Tom.
All right, I'm trying to understand that you said in the fall you run the boys' high school volleyball?
Yes, we run the interscholastic league, correct.
Is that what's going to happen on your fall dates on our beach, or is that separate from that?
That's the only date that'll coincide with that is the October date. That's a Wednesday playoff date, so that's probably going to use 6 courts at 3:30 for 1 hour.
And that's a high school boys match? I'm just trying to separate. That is
high school boys' traditional varsity program. That's a varsity playoff date.
all right, and that would include schools from the South Bay, or we don't know that?
Last year, the semifinals we held in Ventura, And we actually had to move them down to the South Bay, to Manhattan Beach, because it involved Miracosta playing. Miracosta was playing a local school, so we didn't want to send them to Ventura County.
All right.
So it tends to be the local schools. The finals that weekend will be in Santa Monica at Annenberg Beach House, but that's a Wednesday semifinal match scheduled.
Okay. So other than that date, that October date, the other 8 dates that you're asking for are something different. It's not a high school.
They're all IBVL. November 2nd will be an IBV. The October date will be a California Pairs event, and the November date will be a national pairs event for IBVL.
All right, that's 2. And what else do we have going on in
They're
these dates?
qualifying for the Pan Am event in May. May 31st, June 1st is ISF Pan Am Championships, the Pan Am Cup in Santa Monica. So that'll allow events in the March and April date, especially the girls, because that's during girls' high school season. So we want to get them during their season of play. The boys qualify in the fall.
The qualifiers, are they limited to California kids, or is anybody can come?
We have both. The California events qualify to the California Pairs. These events can actually qualify. Anyone in the country can come and qualify to represent the United States.
Okay. And how many of these events do you run? I know you do run some on Dockweiler and Santa Monica.
Yeah.
And over the course of a year, how many events are you going to have in
general,
the LA County beaches?
In a year, it's probably 2 a month.
How many?
2 a month.
Okay.
Except for the fall season. The fall season is a full high school league, and that runs from end of August through mid-October. And that is, on any given weekend, we'll have, let's say, if we're at Dockweiler, we're probably running 2 waves, morning wave, afternoon wave, varsity, JV. And probably in LA County, I think we have 6 leagues. And each league has 4 to 6 schools, and they're playing dual match, not playing pairs. They're playing similar to college and high school, where each school competes with 5 pairs against another school with 5 pairs. And of course, and then JV and frost off too.
Are the events you're asking us to approve, did these events happen somewhere else last year, or are they just new events?
They happened last year as well. They have every year since 2017.
And so what brings you to Hermosa to put them here?
They were held, some of them were held as qualifiers as part of the AU event. Some were not.
Okay, but why Hermosa for this year? If these events were held somewhere else last year and the year before.
Well, they were different series. So there's IBVL Pair Series that has teams that are open events to a student from any high school. And there's limited events in the fall. You must be from the same school. And these are operated through an athletic director. Those are the ones in October and November. So that's different. So there's 2 different series within IBVL. We have IBVL Select and IBVL School, which means either athletes must be from the same school or they must be a selected athlete that are a high school student. These aren't my rules. These are rules of the International School Sport Federation for any sport. Because we also send athletes in other sports too, in basketball and field hockey and table tennis, swimming, and so forth.
Are you asking us to approve all 9 as a group? If we were to say,
I think we're
let me finish
requesting
the
6.
question. If we were to say we can do 4 of these and not 9 of these, is your response, I need to have all 9 dates, or I have to go elsewhere?
We would have to find other locations for them,
For all 9 dates?
for whatever dates are not approved.
Okay. All right, that's all I have for right now.
Let's see, I'm trying to figure out some of this. So, yeah, I'm a little bit confused by this whole setup. What is your association? It's high school athletes, but what is your association with the schools and the school programs? I mean, how do these students come to you and get involved in
So for the
these
open pair
tournaments?
tournaments, a athlete could register directly as long as they represent a school team or are on a school team. During the high school league, they have to be entered by the high school athletic department. So we work with high school athletic directors, high school principals,
You do?
private
Okay.
schools, and so forth.
Okay.
Especially if it's an event that qualifies a team to a world championship. And if they qualify, then we have to get permission from the CIF, because the CIF needs to be sure that any athlete representing a high school team needs to have their permission if it takes place during the season of sport or not. Since most of our events take place during the academic school year, CIF permission is often granted, or is often needed. Anything during the summer, CIF it's hands off. That's why you see a lot of national events in the summertime, because high school sports have no jurisdiction during July and August, June, July, and August.
Okay, and I was just trying to kind of do a little vetting for this event because it's new to me anyway, and IBVL is new to me, and so I saw that so on the application, the organization name is California School Sport Association.
Yes.
Which is and then this IBVL is a program of California School Sport Association. But with an organization of this size and being, and submitting an application for nonprofit status, I couldn't find, and it could have been just me not being very good at searching for information, I couldn't find a website for California School Sport Association. I saw a notice of this association on another website. It was posted on another website, but there was no information populated, in terms of in terms of who's behind it, in terms of schedules or anything else. So, I couldn't even, I couldn't find a nonprofit ID number either. So those concern me a little bit.
The ISF, the International School Sport Federation, recognizes the agencies within the United States. And there has to be an entity that represents organizations or teams. So California School Sport is the entity recognized by ISF too, and other organizations as well, that organizes competitions for international sports. So the IBVL was an entity that existed before California School Sport and ISF anyway. So what it does, it's basically an entity of ISF, even though it's chartered in California, which only was recently. So this was done in order for IBVL and other sports, because we have sent table tennis teams, we have sent swimming teams, where else we've sent track and field, wrestling, and one other sport, swimming.
Okay.
That ISF recognizes. So it has to be under their ban. A single sport can't just go to a world competition. It has to be under an organization recognized by the ISF. And that's where. And on the ISF side, I'm on the ISF executive committee. So I'm on their board.
Okay.
So this is how they want it to be structured for this, because the National Federation of State High School Associations are run through states. There's not a national high school champion in any sport. It's all run through states.
Okay. So this organization, California School Sport Association,
Specifically for competition to world. If you're familiar with the university games, FISU, so the NCAA runs all the competitions in college sports.
Okay.
And so does NAIA. There's an organization called UniUSA, run by Dan Guerrero out of UCLA, and they're connected to FISU, which is the International Federation of University Sports. That agency organizes and recognizes the teams for world competitions through the NCAA, through the NAIA, through the National Junior College Athletic Association, National Christian College Association, and so forth.
Okay.
So there has to be a interim group that is kind of a pass-through, that is recognized by ISF. Otherwise, they're recognizing far too many organizations, like the 4 or 5 different college organizations that exist.
Okay.
So this was created specifically to identify ISF. So the IBVL technically comes under that, but the IBVL was formed for initially as a high school beach volleyball league before CIF recognized the sport. So when I ran high school beach volleyball for girls, we had leagues statewide. We got to the point where, okay, CIF, we're ready to take it over now. All they did was basically flip a switch. All the same schools that were in IBVL now became CIF. Boys high school beach volleyball is not recognized yet, so we still run it.
Okay. Yeah, and so, and then I hate to be repetitive, but for all these event dates, I was trying to figure out if this is a tournament series. Can you explain what this series is leading towards? I know you mentioned the Pan Am Games, but are the ones in the spring the girls' tournaments? Are the ones in the fall the boys' tournaments? In this list of 9, and so for March, the 2 in March, the 1 in April, are those 3 out of a larger series of tournaments, or where are they, and then where are they going? Where's the final? What is the goal here?
The Pan Am Cup is taking place in Santa Monica, California, May 31st, June 1st.
Okay.
And that'll bring in teams from the continental region. The Pan Ams are held in opposite years of the world competition. So the Pan Am event will include Canada, USA, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Argentina, Brazil, Peru, Colombia, and Chile. So that's an event that'll be up north. And so the events prior to that will lead into that particular event. The fall is September, October, November is boys.
Is boys. So the fall dates are boys. And then you just don't know the composition of the teams yet. You don't know who's going to apply and, whether it's going to be local
We're having
or not.
trials at Dockweiler this month for some preliminary events for that very, actually, I take that back. The trials in January are for the ISF Serbia event that's taking place in April. So that is the World Championship in U15, and that's a 23-sport event that's taking place in Zlatibor, which is a ski resort. We'll see how beach volleyball is played there, but anyway, that's where it's being held.
Okay.
Not my choice. That's where we're putting it.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
Tracy, any questions?
Only one. It's a lot of alphabet. I want to go back to one of Tom's questions because I don't know that I understood the answer or got it. You've had these events before.
Yes.
Where did you have them? Because he had asked why Hermosa, and I'm not sure that I know you have held some of them at Dockweiler and some of them at Santa Monica. Did you hold all of them there and you're moving some of them here and still holding some of them there?
There will still be events at Dockweiler. We've had events at Manhattan Beach. It depends on which region. We also use the Santa Barbara Leagues. They play at East Beach. The Central California Leagues play at Pismo. And the Orange County Leagues play at Newport Beach.
But you want to move those to Hermosa, is that
No,
what?
the ones in Hermosa specifically are for LA County.
Okay, and where were they last year?
The boys in the fall were at Dockweiler, Santa Monica, and Manhattan.
Okay, so you're not having those same event, you're going to move those events to Hermosa
Well,
and,
there was no September dates granted, so most the September dates were going to be as existing in Dockweiler and Santa Monica. The August date will still be at Dockweiler. The October date will be a playoff date, which is a weekday at 3
right, the
o'clock.
Wednesday.
And then the Sunday will be a state pairs championship.
Were there issues in the other locations, which is why you're looking to move, or you
We're
just?
just expanding. We just need more dates for trials for the U15 Serbia event. And I take that back. The U15 Serbia event, their trials are January and February, because that event takes place in April. The March-April dates are trials for the Pan Am event in late May.
Okay. I think it was your.
So they're different events. There's school events, there's continental events, there's world championships. We have a national pairs tournament. We have a state championship in both boys and girls. So it's not just coming from AAU, it's not just everyone's getting ready for nationals. There's several events that
Right.
take place, not only in the United States, but throughout the world.
You don't erect bleachers, it's just come, watch, throw your chair
No
on the
bleachers,
sand.
yeah.
Okay,
Our big event for ISF this year in California will be in Santa Monica. Because they're allowing a 3-day event there at the end of May. And we have to be pretty much done by mid-June,
okay,
before school's out.
thanks. That's it for me for right now. Thank you.
Lisa, what date are we concerned about? Is there a specific date amongst all these dates that we're worried about?
I think a point that Commissioner Maroney had shared is because of the item that's coming up next under matters for consideration, which is a recommendation, which I don't want to get too much into a discussion before we're on that item, but it's a recommendation to approve the Redondo Union High School volleyball matches through the special event permit program just this year, and we'll get more into why on that recommendation. With the recommendation for the Redondo Union High School events, the month of March right now, we would be exceeding our limits if we accommodated I don't want to mispronounce the acronym,
That's okay. I
IBVL.
got to work on these. So, is March 30th. It's not March 2nd. March 2nd isn't the problem? Are we early enough, or is it?
Well,
a
they're
challenge?
requesting 2 dates in March, and there's no other events that take place that day. So that's just adding 2 more event days to the calendar in addition to the event days that we would be recommending
Right.
to add for Redondo
Okay.
and Union High School. And then just during my verbal, the point was just, bringing up a conversation that the commission had had about the volleyball organizations that are returning year after year, and we see that they are requesting more and more dates as their organization grows, and a concern with adding another organization that might be also requesting dates as they grow. We just heard, that they have grown, and that's why they're requesting more dates in requesting time in Hermosa. So I just wanted to bring that conversation to light as we discuss this item.
Okay.
And I am holding an alternate date for March 30th. I think I mentioned that to Brian, if I needed to move a date out. So if March 30th doesn't work, that particular date I could move to Santa Monica.
Okay. And you're a nonprofit?
Yes, we just moved our office from Brussels to Lausanne to be closer to the IOC.
But the mission of this nonprofit, I'm pretty simple when it comes to nonprofits. I'm looking for something that's local, or something that I can see the benefit to those that need, not those that want.
Correct.
So this nonprofit's mission statement is there a mission statement?
The mission statement is basically for high school. It's high school sports, similar to CIF.
Okay.
Except for our mission is to basically bring California athletes to the world. We're trying to qualify them for world competitions. That's the ultimate goal for just not only beach volleyball, but other sports. We've sent at least 7 delegations in 7 different sports.
Okay.
And some non-traditional high school sports. Like we had karate, because ISF has a karate competition. CIF does not, nor does any high school. So they have some sports that don't always parallel what they want to do as what our traditional high school sports do, for example. Like they don't have American football. They don't have field hockey. They don't have water polo. So those sports are just kind of exempt. But they have other sports that are played here that just not played in California high schools.
Not break dancing.
There is dance. Actually, I take that back. Break dancing was at the ISF competition in Deauville, France, because that competition in France was being co-hosted by the Paris Olympic Games Committee. So they wanted to make sure break dancing was in that competition in 22, prior to the Paris Olympic Games in 24.
You're just full of information, aren't you, Gino? Thank you.
Thank you. So Lisa, we're only worrying about approving 6 of the 9 requested dates for this item, correct? Or all 9?
I shouldn't say, so there's a few different ways to answer that question. So Commissioner Maroney brought up a valid point about the concern with the March dates, because we are going to be exceeding our limits if we approve the matter for commission consideration item. And my point in mentioning those 6 days were just that we are increasing the total amount of event days we will have over the year.
Because
If we
3 of
accommodate
which are
this
already
request.
on. Got it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's just showing,
Perfect.
the increase to the total amount of event days.
Okay.
And making note of the fact that we have 72 event days already that have volleyball tournaments taking place on
Okay.
them.
Thank you for clarifying. Gino, always a pleasure working with you, man. It's been a lot of years. Are you still involved with AAU?
I'm still a member of AAU, but I'm not involved in the national organization.
Got
so
it.
what happened with AAU, the national event is now operated by the national office.
Okay.
So in the past, I was able to have a license. They basically, because I used to be the West Coast director, and I was also the commissioner. So that was licensed to run the event for AAU, but we had to follow their standards. They've since taken over every national championship.
So moving forward, you will be working with us in the IBVL capacity, correct?
Yes, and
Okay.
IBVL is a great connection for me to ISF, since I have a leadership role with ISF.
Got it. Okay,
And
cool.
that's really where my continuation will be,
Okay.
with meetings in Switzerland and sometimes 1 a.m. Zoom calls like I had this morning.
So
So
if you need to take any commissioners with you to Switzerland, you've got 5 up here that will gladly
I
go with you.
believe me, they want to see more events in the United States.
Okay,
And I know
gotcha.
we're not ready for that here, so that's why I said, okay, I'm not even going to approach Hermosa about this. Santa Monica was more than willing especially the fact that they're going to have the Olympic beach volleyball competition on that very same beach.
Okay.
So they're happy to have us.
So is this a one-off request, or can we expect the IBVL coming back year after year after year after year?
I think the focus when I submitted dates is really more off-season. I think we're more January, February, November, December, which is when there's less here, because I know because I've ran AAU tournaments during that time. There's not much going on, and quite frankly, we had to cancel some dates in the past because it was either rainy or too windy. It was just like the winds today, for example. If we played today in 40-mile-an-hour winds, that's worse than playing in the rain. That's just, you can't even play volleyball.
Yeah.
The March and April date helps us qualify for the May date, is what it does. And I understand March is busy, and I would, if I had a choice between picking one of our March, to take our March 30th date or approve Mark for Redondo Union, I choose Redondo Union, because we're in the same mission.
For
High
sure.
school sports.
So you got a little bit ahead of my question sequencing. So are you going to come back and request dates in 26?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So of the 9, clearly we understand that you have an alternative date for March 30th.
Yes.
I got to ask the tough question. If you could prioritize those 9 dates, and I think that's what you were doing, but my brain was at the first question. Would you mind doing so? Because I know the question's going to come up.
I can move March 30th. Santa Monica is holding it.
Okay,
So
so
they-
that's number 9 on the list.
Is that 9 total? Is that?
There's
I believe
9
that's
of it.
9
Right.
requested dates, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
And
so there's one March, one April, and the
And what
rest
I'm
are
getting
off.
at as a sports enthusiast, like how important is the Serbia qualifier, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, so when we have to make a recommendation to council, and in the worst case scenario, we come to the conclusion you can only get 4, this is your opportunity to let us know, like, dude, we got to send athletes to Serbia. That's why this has to be number 1. So if you kind of get my sequence of questioning, we need to know which is most important for you.
The March and April dates qualify for the Pan Am, which happens to be here in Santa Monica.
Okay.
The Serbia event actually takes place in early April, which we're qualifying now in January and February, which were dates I submitted, but I missed the deadline.
Okay.
So I didn't make the calendar request. But that event usually takes place, it's U15 this year, next year in April or early May, it'll be U18. So those events will probably have a winner qualifying for that. The Pan Am, I'm not sure what that'll be next year. It
Okay.
could be in the Caribbean, it could be in Brazil, but that's usually an opposite year of the U18 tournament. So there's a shifted calendar. Every other year is maybe a Pan Am, a World, a U15, a U18, a World School event, or what they call a Gymnasiad, which are their multi-sport Olympic games, 26 sports. We had like 4,000 athletes last October in Bahrain, and 78 plus countries participating. So now I'm juggling a calendar of multiple sports, multiple events, and I'm based here.
Got it. So looking at this calendar, none of these land during vacation time. None of these land during the summer. I mean, these are just highly ambitious high school athletes who are prioritizing beach volleyball, right?
And it just so happens that Maricosta and Redondo Union have some of the best athletes in the nation.
Absolutely. Seahawks.
And they're training on these beaches right here in Hermosa Beach.
Absolutely. Okay. The reason I ask is because we know in the past when we've talked to other organizations, June is so important nationally because it's the one month where everybody can come on vacation.
July.
Clearly, that is not the issue right now.
No.
Okay.
We have to be done before the
mental
school
note.
year ends. So like June 7th is our last date that
Okay.
we run a competition, and that's a week before graduation for most schools here.
Okay. So
That doesn't include, we're not in Hermosa that day. We're not even here. That's, I forgot where that tournament's being held, I think Santa Barbara.
okay. So if the question was asked again, if you had to prioritize your top 4, which of those dates would they be? Because what we're looking for,
Yeah.
we don't want to max out, I don't want to max out all of our dates because we have to operate with a little bit of a buffer zone.
Yeah.
So I'm not speaking for the rest of the commissioners, I'm asking for myself. How do we, make the most for these high school students? And if I have to ask you, you only get 4.
I would think if you've asked high school students, they want to play here at this beach. It's a beach that when I ran junior competitions 30 years ago, we chose here. My first AU competition was actually in San Pedro, California. Because at that time, I couldn't get a beach if my life depended on it. But I lived in San Pedro then. I knew the city park and rec department. I said, you want to do what? Beach volleyball? Are you kidding me? We don't even have beach courts here. We had to bring in our own post. We had to get a tractor to push sand to get enough Santa Cabrillo Beach, and ran the event. And now we had an entity. We had an event. Guess where we were at year 2? Here.
Awesome.
95. And then we went to Manhattan Beach, because that was, you got to go to Manhattan. We went to Manhattan and came back here. So this is how that cycled here. And this is when it was just AAU, CBVA, and AVP. There wasn't a multitude of, like it is now. ISF's a good challenge. IBVL is a good challenge, and I was spearheading high school beach volleyball competition. I thought it was a great opportunity. And we started the same year as when colleges started collegiate beach volleyball with an experiment. I contacted 8 schools, didn't charge them anything, come and play. Miracosta was one of them. And we did it on a grant program. They just come and play for free, get the school going just to see if we can start a program. After year 1 with 8 schools, year 2 it became 32. And it just blew up year after year after that. But someone had to get it started. And so IBVL exists today because of that. And if there was an IBL for boys, there wouldn't be high school boys beach volleyball right now. So, and that boys program has now surpassed the numbers of girls. So we couldn't do a boys IBVL regular league day at Hermosa. There's not enough courts. Okay. Santa Monica, there's 29 courts. We use all 29 on 2 waves, morning shift, afternoon shift.
You guys are masters at that. So of the 9 of these 9 dates that you're asking, which are your most important for?
I would say if we're going to do qualifying for Pan Am, the first day of March 2nd, and the April date, I think it's the 19th, which is because those 2 will qualify for Pan Am.
Got it.
The other dates are off season, so I would say they're outside the spring and summer window. They're not as important.
So those are the 2 that have the biggest impact on the high school students.
Especially for the girls, because the girls, that's during their high school season. So they can leave their high school team and compete in this. CIF rules allow that to happen.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Again, long definition, because I know you guys know me from AAU, but since 2017, I've been doing IBVL as well.
Cool. And we always look forward to working with you, whether it's AAU or it's stoked to be working with you in this capacity. You know, we look at you and a lot of the other organizers in the room as partners of ours. So thank you. That's why we're asking so many questions.
No,
and we appreciate your time because the clock's ticking and it is a Tuesday night. So thank you very much. Commissioner Ellman has one more question for you.
Lisa,
Lisa.
this isn't going to impact any of our classes or anything. This is north of the pier. We don't have anything.
That's correct, because we schedule our classes on the south of the pier volleyball courts.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
Okay, cool. Stick around, please.
Okay.
Not right now, but we may have some more questions. So we'll open it up to public comment right now. If there's anybody in the room who wants to address the topic, please join us and let's hear your thoughts. Okay, no one in chambers. Do we have anybody online?
We do not.
Okay. So we will close public comment, bring it back to the commission for discussion, and eventually a motion. Tom.
Yeah, this has been a little confusing to me. So let me try to walk through what some of my concerns are, and then I'm open to do a lot of things. But March, we will be at 17 days if we approve this volleyball tournament and the Redondo tournaments games that are coming up, which is 2 over our limit. And I don't see a youth volleyball tournament as being such an extraordinary event that it justifies an exception to the policy. On these other dates, you know, the date I love, but you can't just cherry pick and say, oh, I want your best date. Yeah, I'd love to see your October 1st date. I'd love to have that tournament here. But, you know, I understand that's not fair to you. I have no problem with April 19th. I have no problem with the other fall dates. I do not like the 2, well, I won't vote to approve the 2 March dates. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you. Lauren?
Okay, I appreciate where Commissioner Maroney is heading with this, but I think I would prefer, I'm a little bit confused by the whole thing as well. Really appreciate Gino's passion and all that he's brought to the city in the past. I think we should, because of concerns about overbooking our beach and everything else, and, you know, we do have many volleyball youth events. I would be willing to go with the one March date and go with the two that he suggested actually lead to something as a starting point, at least to give him those two that go towards this Pan Am event, because we're part of something that's resulting in something great for the kids participating that could possibly help, you know, our local school athletes. So that's where I am right now, looking at March 2nd and April 19th as two dates that I think would be a good compromise that would, you know, be more of a win-win for everyone. So that's where I'm at right now.
Tracy?
I want to respect the policy guide that we have with the event dates. I have no doubt Gino's clearly an expert organizer in all of this, and it would be seamless. I'm hearing what Lisa's saying in terms of forward thinking and the other organizations, but we're here. And at the same time, I think about Redondo Union and how I think you hinted at next year it being part of the outdoor fitness program, which would then mitigate the event date issue altogether. Am I correct on that?
Don't want to get into too much of a discussion of a future item, but
Right.
we have another avenue that we'll be recommending
Right.
to consider
Because we talked about that.
the Redondo Union High School. So we're coming back with our evaluation of consideration of it being part of the outdoor fitness
Right.
permit program. We're reporting on that evaluation tonight and sharing an alternate route for the Redondo Union High School in
Right.
future years, so that it will not be on the special event permit calendar in future years.
Which would then mitigate the overage in March.
Correct.
I like
Hopefully,
that it's.
but it's hard to say because we are accommodating 11 different organizations that are continuing to ask for
Right.
additional
And
event days.
And I understand the potential for those asks in the future, but we're here
Mm-hmm.
and presented with this. So I feel like I know I feel like I'm talking out both sides because I'm talking about the outdoor fitness, which I know we're not there yet, and the potential with that. But I like that it's a youth event. I know that it brings the student athletes here, and I can appreciate that. My only reservation is the extreme overage in the dates, but because of the type of event it is and the dates that they're Sundays, sometimes Saturdays, I guess, I could be swayed to convince maybe not the March date, the 30th, but that seems like I'm struggling for my word, like it's just one day. I don't know. I'm torn.
Thank you, Tracy. Barb?
I agree with Lauren and Tracy. The youth programs are important. I understand where Commissioner Maroney is going. And we did come up with a number, and so I am struggling with this, but I do like the idea that we are hopefully doing this for 1 year. But yeah, I've seen people up here struggle, and now I know how they feel. So, but if it wasn't a youth component, I could probably walk away with this pretty easily. But with the youth component, I really think that this is a good thing, and I'm happy to let this go this year and revisit this next year.
Thank you, Barb. That was a lot of alphabet soup trying to explain to us all the connections. So bear with me. If you were to see all of our notes, they're wild up here. But, when asked of the applicant, which two events were most important to the high school students, it was out the gate. It was March 2nd and April 19th, and I have no problem with that because we've always put a premium on youth sports, especially since we have such a history of amazing beach volleyball players coming from Hermosa and Redondo. So personally, I'm okay with March 2nd and April 19th. Since there's an alternative date to the north in Santa Monica for March 30th, I would skip on that. And then everything in the fall going into December, I don't have a problem with. That's just me, but I'm open to further discussion from my fellow commissioners.
Can you go over the dates that you're,
That I'm okay with, or just in general?
the dates that you're,
So
I've got, yeah, no, I just meant what you're looking at getting rid of March 30th.
So, okay, we'll start with March 2nd. I would like to keep that because the applicant said that was important to the high school students, one of 9, which was the most important. We'd skip March 30th because they have an alternative location in Santa Monica, which is just right up the street. April 19th was the second identified important date for local high school students. Then October 1st, October 12th, November 2nd, November 15th, December 21st, December 30th. I'm okay with hosting those in the fall and spilling into the back half of the year.
Okay. Thank you.
And that's me. Anybody else? No?
Well, I still think that we move slowly on this, just because we have such pressure for events. And I do appreciate that the fall events and the end of the year events are at a slower time, and appreciate all of that. But I think for this round, I still would stick to March 2nd and April 19th. I mean, that gets, so it's not, so we're still in the game. We're, helping this organization out. We're participating, but we're not going overboard initially. I think we move more slowly on this, and next year we can revisit with more dates.
So you're saying no to the rest of the dates?
I'm saying no to the rest of the dates.
The first.
I'm saying just those. Let's get started. Let's see how those go. I mean, and they're later in the year, can always come back as well.
Does somebody want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the IBVL tournament series on the volleyball courts north of the pier for all the dates except for March 30th.
I'll second that.
Voting is now open. Chair Lang,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pizer Maines,
No.
Commissioner Elman,
Yes.
Yeah.
And so make sure she leaves it up on the screen for a little bit. Leave it up.
motion carries 3-2.
Thank you. Okay, now moving on to the Hermosa Classic.
Chair Lang, I just
Yes, pardon
wanted
me.
to note that of course was a recommendation to City Council for approval.
Correct, yes, absolutely. Do we know when that's going to be on the next City Council agenda?
January 28th.
January 28th.
You're taking away our power.
It's a new event. If it comes back in the future, then per the policy guide, you guys will be able to.
Okay, cool. Moving on to item number 2, the Hermosa Classic. If we have event producers in the room, welcome.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, commissioners and all the event staff and support here. I also have a co-producer that is joined by Zoom.
Cool.
His name should be Tully Banticane on there. He'll start off, and then we'll tag team, and I'll be right behind him.
Hello, everyone. Yeah. if I'm not sure if everyone can.
Can you hear us okay?
Yes, can you guys hear me?
Cool, we can hear you and see you.
Okay, perfect.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Test,
Yeah, I can
cool.
hear you. Clear.
Are you guys gonna tag team or
Oh, you
does
can
one
go
wanna
ahead, take
Yeah,
the
so
floor.
I'll go ahead and get started. As Adam mentioned, my name is Tully Banta-Kane, founder of the Beach Football League. We are a new up-and-coming league that has had an event last year that was successful in Hampton Beach, New Hampshire. We are both a flag and tackle football league that is an 8-on-8, 50-yard field with 4-to-score rules and some other components that are hybrid to other sports. We are essentially doing a 7-city tour next year. 3 of those cities are in California, including Santa Cruz and San Diego. We are also in Jacksonville, Florida, Hampton Beach, New Hampshire, Coney Island, New York, and Newport, Rhode Island. And the idea is that we are doing a tryout for the open public. So it would be a combine in the morning for former and current football players, 17 and up, to compete in the adult competitions that would lead into making or qualifying for one of the 7 cities' professional teams. We follow the combine in the morning with a family-friendly kids activation called the Kid Zone, which is right now sponsored by Polar Seltzers, where we have 5 stations that are coached by former NFL players. That teaches them skills and drills. They'll do some one-on-one competitions, and then we'll break it into team play as we partner with some of the local youth football programs like Beach City Sports with Alexi Wall, as well as any other Hermosa Beach high school programs that would like to get involved with the competitions. That part of the day is then followed by a draft ceremony where we'll select the best players from that day to compete in a co-ed flag competition game exhibition, followed by a full tackle game, men's game. Those games could vary based on registration in terms of how many numbers of female versus male. We may be able to do an all-female game as well as an all-male game with the co-ed, but that will be determined based on the registration numbers.
Yep, and just from sitting into the last meeting, our why for Hermosa is Telly and myself both met each other here in the South Bay, and shortly after COVID, we would spend a bunch of time on the beach, and we both coached football in Santa Monica at St. Monica, and we would train high school athletes on the beach, and we saw how much it got them better and how much fun they had. And of course, we attended plenty of AVP events, and the idea of the Beach Football League was birthed and born here in the South Bay. So after our first pilot event in Hampton Beach, we thought that it would be a great homecoming for us to have an event here and include all of the high school and middle schoolers that are in the South Bay that are very talented and give them an outlet. And our goal and mission of the Beach Football League is to bring football to all ages and all social classes, and not have to have a financial restraint, because with pads, it does cost money to play in these peewee and sports outside of high school. So being on the beach, just flag football, we think that's a great opportunity for the youth to do so.
Anything else you guys want to add before we start asking questions?
I think that's it. Telly, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think the general idea is, like we mentioned, this event would be a tryout that would lead to hopefully annual events where Hermosa would host its own team for the BFL to be in competition with other California beach cities, as well as other national beach football teams as well. Adam mentioned that the goal is to expand the sport internationally, and that's what we are aim to do is to bring this not only to domestic borders, but overseas, and to eventually become an Olympic sport that is like other beach sports have been introduced in the past, like volleyball, soccer, and the like. So this is actually like I said before, a new concept that has been from one location to now potentially 7 locations next year or this year. So we are getting a lot of interest, and the NFL Players Association is behind us. We are also looking to attach other foundations for at-risk youth, as well as cancer societies. So there are some other agendas that the Beach Football League has. But right now we are starting off with this tryout concept to get feedback and spread the word and get exposure to the league. And we're excited to bring it to Hermosa Beach, like Adam said, as a homecoming, because the idea was incepted in the South Bay.
Thank you. Tom, any questions? I'd like to start at my left. We can change it up.
I'll give you a moment. So I imagine because this is a beach football league, the field itself, are you, we had a football on the beach event previously, and there was turf put down, et cetera. But I imagine in this case, it's on the beach, on the sand, or is there turf put down? Is it like creating a football field on the sand, over the sand?
Yes. So we just play on sand, and it's half the size of the NFL or high school college football. So it's 50 yards in width and then about 50 yards in length and 30 yards in width. So the width is the same amount, but we just cut it in half. We'll bring in border lines similar to the volleyball events that are branded with BFL on them, and it has the end zones and the outside borders. And then as far as field goals go, we're not bringing any yellow field goal posts. We have a hybrid point system. So we bring in soccer nets that are half the size of a professional soccer net, and a quarterback will throw in an extra point to their best defender.
Okay. And since this is a relatively new event, how are you estimating the number of participants and spectators?
Right now, a comparable number from our last event was anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500. We had online registrations at about 400, including adults and kids. So we would like to think we had about 60 days to promote that event. With 4 or 5 months to promote this event, we would want to say that we could double those numbers. But we would definitely make sure that we don't want to exceed that, so it stays in that impact level 2. So we definitely want to have volunteers that are at each of the event entrances with clickers, so that we make sure we don't exceed that amount.
Okay, and this event, it looks like it'll feature some tackle for the tryouts, and then flag football demonstrations, youth participation. How are we handling, this might be a city question, staff question, but in terms of, the sand is probably more of a buffer, so, in terms of injury, but I'm just wondering about insurance issues and things like that.
Yeah, when we have our pre-event meeting with the special event team, our emergency management coordinator is part of that team. We will discuss the requirement possibly for a medical tent or first aid tent to be part of the event footprint.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
Tom?
I have a flow.
All right, so
I'm the chairperson, man.
you've done one of these games, is that one to understand, last year?
Yes, correct. We did one tryout in Hampton Beach, New Hampshire, and from that event, we picked the best 40 players, and we did 2 exhibition games post the tryout. So one was flag and one was tackle.
All right, and you're proposing part of this event would be adult tackle?
Correct. So there's no pads required, so it's similar to rugby. So we've been playing with this sport and testing it for the past 3 years. And once you take off the plastic and the hard metal face mask, it really does make the sport a bit safer, and you can't weaponize yourself as much. And luckily, at the last event, there were no injuries. With playing on the sand, there is a bit of a softer surface when you land. But yes, there will be one tackle game and one flag football game.
All right, and you mentioned some NFL player interest. I mean, other than you two, who's behind this? Is there somebody recognizable with the NFL, a retired player, somebody that we think would make this work? Expand it to 7 locations from 1.
Yep, I'll let the big guy who has 2 Super Bowl rings answer that question.
Well, see, I don't know that. Okay.
Mr.
Oh
Tully?
yeah, I didn't mention my NFL career. I played 8 years in the NFL, 6 with the New England Patriots, 2 with the San Francisco 49ers, out of UC Berkeley. And yes, we have over 30 committed players, former players, and some current to either coach, commentate, sideline report, or play in the game or compete in the game. So, I mean, I can rattle off names. I think the biggest thing for us is the success that we had in New England, in New Hampshire, where we brought 6 former NFL players, from Max Lane to Jamie Collins to Kendrick Bourne, who is a current player on the Patriots roster, as well as Dexter McCluster, a Pro Bowler from the Kansas City Chiefs, who actually competed in the combine and played in the exhibition games. That is kind of the model that we're going with for any location that we choose. Los Angeles, obviously, there's the Rams and the Chargers. I believe Hermosa is more of Rams country. So we would be reaching out to some of the former players and current players and local retired NFL players in the South Bay to come attend to either watch, participate, or just support the event. So that's kind of what it is in a nutshell. And like I said, the success from the New England event is really what was able to get us to 7 events for this year. The kid zone alone was, we got about 200 kids out. The Patriots were able to sponsor the event with Pat the Patriot, the mascot, and they brought out the New England Patriots cheerleaders. We also had the local KISS 108, which is an iHeartRadio station, came out and had a DJ tent where they gave out, they had one of those T-shirt guns, and they were shooting out swag to the kids. And there was an inflatable game that they had set up for kids to throw footballs in, and they win prizes. So that was definitely a special part of the day where the families got a big kick out of seeing their kids hang out and learn from the players. And then after that, we shortly after had a meet and greet where we set up tables for players to sign autographs for the kids and their families.
All right, and so it sounds to me like this year would be more like a pickup game here. You're just inviting people to come play and then put together a game of adults at the end of the day. Is the ultimate plan here to have teams, like
Correct.
a Hermosa team or a South Bay team?
Yes,
Okay.
that is the main goal. Is through the tryout process, we will select at the end of the year the best 22 players that will be drafted onto the Hermosa team.
And we're doing this without stands, at least this year?
They do have bleachers as part of the event footprint on the north side of where the field area would be for the event.
And then, Pat, I'll just leave to you whether or not growing adult tackle football on the beach is something the city should be concerned about, liability-wise. That's not for me to say. That's
Correct, yeah, as Director Nichols posited that the insurance requirements, the medical personnel will all be there. I won't speak for the 2 event organizers, however, I assume that there is a pretty robust waiver of liability and things like that. So your concern is definitely noted, and we'll make sure that if the event is to be approved, which is of course the purview of this commission, that'll be taken into account.
I can add to that too, because what we did with the Rams draft experience is we did work with them to have a joint waiver as well, so that it was covering the city and the event producer. So we will work with the Beach Football League on that as well.
all right. Not to beat this into the ground, but what the Rams did last year and what they're proposing to do next year or this year are very different things.
Correct. We have approved rugby events too, so we have a footprint for that from when we had the AEG beach rugby event here, which some of the commissioners might remember when we reviewed that. And we did have certain requirements, considering the nature of the sport, that we would impose on this event as well.
Tom? Okay. Tracy?
Hi.
Hey.
A lot of my questions have been asked and answered. Obviously, the waiver of liability came to my mind. I did watch the video that you sent out, and, you know, obviously videos can be edited, but it looked robust, but yet not football cringy, where you look at those hits and go, yikes. You guys are a for-profit company, but there's no participation fee. Is that because it's a trial year and you're going to raise the money through sponsorships?
Correct, yeah. This year, we're solely just looking for talent through the tryout process. So yeah, there is no fee to register or to play or to watch. Sponsorship dollars will be about 90% of our event budget, and then the other 10 will come from the BFL.
Okay. And obviously no fees for the kids to
No.
participate in the Kids Zone. Okay, those are my questions.
Barb?
I probably should have said something earlier. I did meet with this group in November, and just asked a few questions, but this is much more detailed. First, Tully, I would like to say there's nothing wrong with the Chargers. Just saying. Kellen Winslow, we can get him to come. Got a big crush on LaDainian Tomlinson. So we've discussed a lot here. Are women encouraged to try out?
Yes, at our last event, we had women that participated in flag. There were only 4 that participated in the game, so we had a co-ed game. 2 were on each side. But through some of the conversations that we had with Beach City Sports and the numbers that they have with high school girls, we think that we'll be able to put together a full women's game or a girls' game.
That would be great. 7 cities. I think those, Tom asked my most important question, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Lisa, have we reached out to the Hamptons to get any feedback from their staff on how the event went?
We haven't.
Okay,
We can certainly do so.
cool. And then, what are the other 7 stops that you guys plan for? I know, and I apologize if you had already mentioned it.
Santa Cruz?
Yeah, to hear it
it's-
again, that'd be awesome.
So yeah, we'll start up in Jacksonville, Florida. We'll come back to Hermosa. We have Santa Cruz, San Diego, and then we go out east to Wildwood, New Jersey, and then we stop in Hampton Beach, New Hampshire.
No Hawaii?
No Hawaii just yet.
All right. Cool. That's all I have. I don't have any further questions. I'll save my comments for later. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll open it up to public comment. Anybody in the audience or in chambers would like to come and speak on the topic? Yes, sir? Hold, one sec. Come up. State your name and address, please.
My name is Greg Bonnert. I live at 529 Manhattan Beach Boulevard in Manhattan. And I actually attended the event in Hampton Beach in New Hampshire. And I thought it was very well run and a lot of fun. And it was mostly just word of mouth and people coming down and saying, what's going on? Hey, let's watch this. It was a good-sized crowd, very well run. A couple of little minor hiccups, not enough staff to clear out at the end of the day. Well, so we did that. But all in all, I think it's a tremendous opportunity to bring football to the beach and to open it up to kids and girls and all of that. And it was a lot of fun. And having the kids zone was great. The kids had a blast. I saw kids having pickup football games off the field on their own. So it was just a great day when we were there.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. That's it.
Anybody else in chambers? Thank you. Anybody online?
There's no one online.
One online. Last chance in chambers. Okay. We'll close it and bring it back to commission for discussion. I'll start to my left. Tom?
Well, and this is kind of easy for me because it's a non-volleyball event and we're looking to do things that are different. And, you know, I'm fine with seeing if this works out, and Pat can lose sleep about whether or not this is a liability issue. And I'll say to Lisa, I see what you did on our limits in May. We don't exceed the May limits because you only count to May 25th. And that's one interpretation of the policy. I can accept that. There could be a different
'cause
interpretation that we would
Memorial
exceed
Day
it.
itself
Right.
falls in the peak season.
All right.
Thank you, Tom. Lauren?
Well, all my questions were answered. It is a different kind of event. It seems like it'd be a lot of fun for the community. I don't really have any issues with it, and I know that in terms of any waivers, joint waivers and liabilities, those will be handled by our very capable city attorney and staff, so that would be my only concern with that, so.
Thank you. Tracy?
I think it sounds great. I'm a football fan, and I think this is unique and fun, and it'll be safe. I'm not worried about that. I think it's great that there's kid component and adult components, and I think it's terrific.
Barb?
I'm all in.
Okay. Well, I think this is wonderful for several reasons, and I want the applicants to hear exactly why. First of all, May 9th and 10th is a wonderful date because we're coming off a string of 4 to 5 weeks of events that pull Hermosa Beach residents and tourists away from Hermosa. 2 weeks of Coachella, Stagecoach, Beach Life Festival, all of which encourage residents to leave town. So with you bringing us an awesome, unique event for May 10th that brings people back, we appreciate it. You couldn't pick a better date, so thank you. The fact that you're already working with BCS, Alexi's the man. I've coached that league several times, so keep working with him. Super stoked to hear that. Hermosa Valley Middle School has an amazing flag football team. They'd love to participate. Full tackle on the beach sounds epic. I do imagine that you have plans to work with the Chamber of Commerce and find maybe 1, 2, 3 host restaurants for pre and post activities. I love the ambition of the concept of this being an Olympic sport. And I love that you are respectfully capping it at 300 participants. I do believe you will exceed 1,200 spectators because any sunny day in Hermosa Beach, as you guys know, we're gonna have tens of thousands of people, you know, passing through the Strand or on the plaza, so I would anticipate for more. And lastly, Tully, provided you get the recommendation and you go talk to City Council, wear your rings, dude. So does the commission have a motion to make?
Okay. I would make a motion that we recommend to City Council the approval of the Hermosa Classic by the Beach Football League to take place on Saturday, May 10th.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Voting is now open. Chair Lang,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pizer-Mains,
Yes.
Commissioner Elman,
Yes.
motion carries.
Cool. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
And sorry, Chair, just for the record, I assume the motion carried unanimously, 5-0?
That's correct.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
Awesome. See you guys on the beach.
You got it. All right, moving on for matters for commission consideration. 11A, the approval of the Redondo Union High School volleyball matches. Lisa?
Thank you, Chair Ling. We have a presentation that will queue up. This item is staff's recommendation to approve the Redondo Union High School volleyball matches on the dates presented in the staff report on the 2025 special events calendar. Next slide. This event was first approved through the special event permit program in 2024. The approval required an exception to the special events policy guide at the time to allow for the monthly number of event days for events outside of the peak season to exceed the maximum of 15 in the months of March and April in 2024. During the approval, the commission requested staff bring an item to the commission evaluating the feasibility of adding a new tier to the outdoor fitness permit program to accommodate local high schools' request to use city facilities for recreation purposes, such as the Redondo Union High School's request to host these volleyball matches on the volleyball courts north of the pier. During approval of these events in 2024, I'm sorry, I was repeating the paragraph I just had. Next slide. Staff has completed an evaluation of the feasibility of adding a new tier to the outdoor fitness permit program to accommodate such request to use city facilities for recreation purposes, and staff actually does not recommend adding a new tier to the outdoor fitness permit program for this exact purpose. And upon evaluation of the background of the creation of the outdoor fitness permit program, we found it was really created to provide another avenue for individuals or organizations to use outdoor city facilities to provide private instruction or recreation classes. And it was an avenue for those who weren't able to meet the timeline and terms of the contract class program. As each local school's needs are going to be unique, and at times for activities that aren't permitted through the outdoor fitness permit program, such as tournaments and special events, staff did not find the outdoor fitness permit program as the most appropriate avenue to consider these type of requests from local high schools for use of city facilities. Next slide. So therefore, upon our evaluation of the outdoor fitness permit program and its history and how it was created, and connecting with our surrounding cities on how they accommodate such requests, staff does recommend local schools' request to use city facilities for recreational purposes be considered on a case-by-case basis. Staff recommends it not be limited to just local high schools and local schools in general. If staff determines the city can accommodate the use of the requested city facility during the requested times, staff would then negotiate with the local school to form an agreement for consideration by the council and city council. And through negotiations, staff and the local school could also discuss the feasibility of a joint use agreement to allow the city access to the local school's facility for recreation purposes if there is a determined need for recreation programming that the city is not able to accommodate within its own facilities. Additionally, staff recommends consideration of such request be from local schools in Manhattan Beach and Redondo Beach. And this is really due to the current programming that the city provides and the limited space to accommodate any additional programming. Staff is recommending the commission receive and file this evaluation and plan for action, but welcomes input as well regarding any negotiation terms or cities to consider requests from. Next slide. To allow staff additional time to discuss with Redondo Union High School the feasibility of accommodating their request in future calendar years through an agreement or a joint use agreement, staff recommends the commission approve the school's volleyball matches again on the 2025 special events calendar. We wanted to clarify verbally that approval of the matches would result in the commission needing to approve an exception to the special events policy guide to allow for what would now be 16 event days in the month of March versus the maximum of 15 outlined in our policy guide for special events to accommodate the Redondo Union High School matches. And this was not included with your written staff report due to a miscalculation within the special events calendar at the time the agenda was initially posted. So this does conclude my staff report, and I am, of course, available for any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to change it up. Tracy.
I apologize if I missed it in the staff report earlier that you were not recommending. Clearly, I missed that, and I'm going back to find it, and I still don't really see it. So my brain is catching up to that. I don't really have any questions. I think it went well last year, and we know Mark is a trusted, valued partner, and we're obviously a definite supporter of youth activities on the beach. So I don't really have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Barb?
I have no questions.
Tom?
Do we get a pool out of this?
Hopefully.
Okay.
It will be definitely a conversation we would have with Redondo Union High School.
You'll come to that meeting.
Lauren?
Yeah.
Mark will be
Funny
part
how-
of those meetings.
Yeah,
And then
funny
the
how
go-
that entered my mind as well. I thought, okay, so we're like thinking about some negotiations here. Yeah, no, I think this is good. Seemed that there was a different match of dates from the report that I printed out versus what was just presented on the screen. Because I was looking at this and it was like 10 dates, but actually we're looking at more dates.
Yes, so the first agenda that was posted,
Okay.
the calculations were off on the very
Okay,
last page. So
okay.
we reposted the agenda and alerted the commission of the updates. I believe it was yesterday, yes.
Okay.
So now it would be with the motion that we just had for the IBVL tournament series, we would be at 16
Okay,
instead of 15, which is
Okay.
our maximum for the month of March.
okay.
Only, that would be the only date. I mean, the only month that we would be
Okay.
exceeding our limits.
Okay, and
For
yeah,
this.
because we're considering this still an event, even though it's very
Correct.
limited in what it is. Yeah.
Just to give us time to get that agreement. We
Right.
have actually scheduled a few meetings, but with the holidays, it's been really difficult.
Right.
So Mark and I are working on scheduling a meeting in the new year
Okay.
with Redondo
Okay.
Union High School.
Okay, and are there any issues with us if we don't have some sort of a joint use agreement with us saying we're only going to work with these two school districts? Like in terms of utilizing our beach? Wondering if other schools would have some concerns about that? I mean, it makes sense because Hermosa city residents, those are the two schools we partner with and we can send our kids to. But I was just wondering if there's any issues with that, if we limit that in our policy, and if it would then encourage us to make some sort of joint use agreements with those two schools just to make it more an official thing.
Well, our
We kinda cover
recommendation is
ourselves.
really to consider it on a case-by-case basis on when the requests come in and to prioritize the request from Redondo Beach and Manhattan Beach. We understand that use of their beach goes through an entirely different process through the county. So it is way different to have these matches take place here in Hermosa and to work directly with the city, which is why, not only because of, our amazing history with volleyball and the fact that
Right.
the schools train here, but it also is a different process. So we thought just knowing how impacted our commercial zone is with the many programs that we have through that space. We have our contract class program, our outdoor fitness permit program, special event permit program. Oftentimes, filming and still photo wants to take place there because of the pier backdrop, that we do try to set some guidelines and limitations on who we are considering these requests from.
Yeah, no, I think it makes sense. I'm wondering about any sort of potential pushback or anything like that. But it does make sense, and there is that established historical relationship.
I think if we find that we have a request that presents a joint use that is unique and would help us meet maybe a need that we aren't able to meet here in our own facilities, that we could still certainly give an exception to that guiding practice that we're suggesting and bring it to the commission and council for consideration if we find that unique opportunity.
Okay, well, I think it's a great thing. Thank you.
Cool. Well, speaking of joint use, the pool is one thing, but have you seen Redondo High's golf course?
I have.
Dude, it is. It's fabulous. I have no questions. We're not golf course training facility. It's amazing. I don't have any questions of staff, but Mark, would you like to address commission on anything? Catch us up to speed?
Good evening, commissioners and chairpersons. Thank you so much for the opportunity of putting this on for the last couple of years, and hopefully another season with this. As Ms. Nichols had mentioned, we'll be able to work. I can't promise anything. I'm the low guy on the totem pole. I don't even know if the person knows who I am, but I will do my best to help make that all hopefully potentially happen. And in the bigger picture of this whole thing is that beach volleyball is growing, and I know you guys are tired of hearing all those things. Sometimes I get tired of hearing it too because I'm involved with it so much. But we do have a very unique thing, and I don't want us to get too burned out on that thought process, because over the years I've seen other locations who had a very good, unique opportunity with their city and different sports and stuff, and it kind of gone to the wayside because of the wrong people who wanted the things to change. And I think it was a bad decision on those parts, but I just don't want that to ever happen here. I think we have a very unique city. You guys are doing a great job in kind of balancing it all out, and I know it's not easy, and I know it's tough to refreshing to hear a new sport coming in, so to speak, and doing an event here. So I get that totally. But the beach volleyball for the high school youth side is growing so fast, and that these schools don't have volleyball courts on campus. So they're finding places and they're going to the beach. And your beach, Hermosa Beach, our beach, is like number one. And we got from PV to south, west, north, El Segundo. Costa typically goes to Manhattan usually, but we have so many schools within a few miles of here that all go straight here. And then it's the schools that we're competing. I get calls all the time for other schools from all up in the valley, San Diego, Orange County, that want to play us in a preseason or during the season, and they're willing to, no, we'll come to you. We'll pay for the bus, we're coming up to you. And I'm like, well, that's great, because I don't want to be in the headache to drive in traffic. And so they're willing to do it. Cut out and head on over and play. So that's just another reminder that you guys all are doing a great job, and that we have a great beach here. So that's about it. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Mark. We'll open it to public comment. Anybody in chambers want to address the topic? No? Do we have anybody online? No? Okay. Public comment is closed. Bring it back to commission for discussion or a motion.
Well, I just can't say enough about this. I think it's wonderful. I've gone down and watched the program. I couldn't be more grateful for Mark's creative ideas. So I am very much in support of this.
I think this is one of the best uses of our beach. It's not the most exciting event we have, but it's a great use.
In agreement as well. And Mark, his comments just reminded me that even though we are looking at the two local high schools with that we have partnered with in the past, and that's where we're looking to prioritize. There is opportunity for schools throughout the district because they're playing against the Redondo students. So we are reaching, so other schools do have the opportunity. So thanks for the reminder.
Tracy?
No, I'll make a motion.
Excellent.
Awesome. Take it away.
I'll make a motion to recommend to City Council the approval of the Redondo, do we have to go to council? No. That we approve the Redondo Union High School volleyball matches on our beach on the dates listed in the agenda.
Is there a second?
Oh, we need item 2 as well.
Oh, item to receive and file.
Yeah, just receive and file.
Receive and file.
I'll second.
Okay.
Voting is now open. Chair Lang,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pizer Maines,
Yes.
Commissioner Ellman.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. Okay, moving on to item 12, future agenda items. Any requests? Anybody?
Lisa, I just would like to be sure that we are working hard to share the information about the courts at Clark regarding 4 pickleball courts. Because right now, I think the residents are concerned. So looking forward to some sort of communication sooner than later. Thank you.
Yes, we are. We plan to, as soon as the award of contract for the Kelly Courts renovation is scheduled, and for the council consideration, we will be emailing our stakeholder group and giving them notice, as well as some other residents and pickleball players that have reached out wanting to be a part of that stakeholder group or just be updated on the process of the award of contract going before the city council and what exactly it means. I mean, that it would be for the return of 4 courts.
And we're not just relying on the names that we have. We know it's been a number of years that we're going to mail notices out to anyone that lives within, I don't remember what the distance is, but I know of at least 2 households that have since left.
Yeah, so I believe with the construction project, there's going to be noticing that will have to be provided within a certain distance from the actual construction site. So I can provide an update on that once I connect with Public Works.
But this isn't going to happen in February or March?
No, because the request for bids doesn't close until January 23rd.
Okay.
So the bids have to be reviewed, and a company would need to be selected. It would have to be scheduled to go before the council. So it would likely not even be before the council until February or March.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to adjourn this meeting, and I want everybody to know that Hermosa Beach's thoughts and prayers are going in the direction of our neighbors to the north, everybody impacted by the Palisades fire, anybody who's seen the smoke this morning or the blaze of the fire in the evening. It's scary how close it is. So we're sending positive vibes and thoughts to everybody affected. Also sending positive vibes to all the first responders up there. Saw some Redondo Beach engines flying down PCH, and if there's anybody from our Hermosa first responders, thank you for your support, and I will pass it over to Commissioner Pizer-Maines, who's involved in the project.
Hi, thank you, Chair. So I just wanted to share, as many people know, my day job is working for the state senate, and the fire is in our district here. So I wanted to share our phone number for our office if anybody has questions or needs assistance or wants to know where, families and friends can either bring animals, shelter in place, go to for any resources. And that number is 310-414-8190. And it has been a very frightening day, and this is a very erratic fire. So we do, hope everybody stays as safe as they possibly can. And please do reach out if you have any questions or if you know anyone that needs assistance.
Thank you. We'll see you in February.